You know, the Beatles say we get by with a little help from our friends. Well, we get by with some help from our friends too, because we certainly can't do it alone. And you're going to find out in a few moments how the police department is able to achieve its mission with help from a bunch of stakeholders, both internally and externally. So we can't wait as we premiere PPD-TV. Welcome to PPD-TV. I'm Captain Sekou Kennebrew.
And I'm Inspector Altavis Love Craighead.
And we're going to be your hosts for today. And it's been a while since we've sat next to each other, but we're certainly no strangers to each other. We go way back, right, Altavis?
Sure do.
Yeah. In fact, as you see, Inspector Love Craighead is in fact an inspector, so she's gotten a little bit higher up on the food chain. But we go back. We made
Detective together.
Detective, sergeant. Then something happened with lieutenant where you
I made lieutenant
yeah,
first.
You certainly did.
I sure did.
then we made captain together, and then
here we are today.
Where you dusted me on the inspector's test. So
I'm sorry.
So history got repeated, but it is really nice to be sit next to you while we do this. In fact, I've had the pleasure of working not only with you for much of my career. I can say we go back decades, but I also had the pleasure of working with not only your husband in different capacities. I've worked with your mother, and I worked with your sister. So I know that you're heavily involved not only in your current assignment right now as the commanding officer of the Community Relations Division, but you've served in a community aspect both in your personal life and in your professional life for as long as I've known you.
I did. In fact, this week, which is a challenging week for me, kind of takes me full circle into why I'm doing what I'm doing today. On March 26, 1997, my brother was murdered in the city of Philadelphia. And in fact, it was this week where we were in between the homicide and the actual planning of the funeral. So as challenging as it is for me, I've always taken the opportunity to share my story with the public, with the police, with the community, so that we can teach others how it feels to be impacted by tragedy, homicide, and how to overcome it.
And you've certainly given back, both
have.
in your personal life and in professionally.
Yes.
We're going to meet some people a little bit later on who are also doing that.
The same thing.
The exact same thing you're doing. Later today, we're going to speak to, I believe, Inspector Derek Wood and Captain Scott Driscoll from Southwest Division.
Yes, we are, and I've actually had the opportunity to work with the both of them, doing some of the community work they're doing out in the Southwest Police Division.
That's right. Matter of fact, before you were an inspector, where were you?
I was in the Southwest Police Division.
Yes, you certainly were.
Yeah, and so we actually had the opportunity there to get the ball rolling with a lot of community stuff. The Southwest Division, the residents are completely engaged with the crime and what's going on, and so they work with the police and are happy to do so.
Well, we can't wait. When we come back, we're going to hear from Captain Driscoll and Inspector Wood. Stay with us.
Please follow me. You know where my next class is.
%31% of female victims stalked by an intimate partner were sexually assaulted by that partner. For more help, visit www.victimsofcrime.org.
Welcome back to PPD-TV, and we have the pleasure of being joined by Inspector Derek Wood. He's the commanding officer of Southwest Police Division, and Captain Scott Driscoll, who's the commanding officer of the 12th District, which is in Southwest. Southwest has 4 districts, of course. I would have got it eventually. And they're both good friends of ours. Inspector Wood and I go way back, just like you and I do. He and I made sergeant, lieutenant, captain. He also dusted me on the inspector's test. So and my good buddy, Scott Driscoll, we worked together. We were cellmates working in the Law and Criminal Procedure Unit, shared an office, and did a lot of good things. We go way back, and I know he's on board. So I wanted to start, if you don't mind, I was going to start with Inspector Wood, because I wanted Inspector Wood specifically to talk about a little bit about the community engagement initiatives that are currently going on in Southwest Police Division. I know the city, the department, citywide has been doing a lot of great things, but you specifically in Southwest, along with Captain Driscoll and the other 3 captains that work under your command, have been doing a lot of exciting things. In fact, many of them were highlighted in the annual report that we just published. So if you can talk, Inspector Wood, about your assignment and some of the stuff you're doing with community engagement out there.
Okay, so I oversee Southwest Division, which encompasses the 16th, the 12th, 18th, and 19th district. So everything basically other side of the Schuylkill. All initiatives we have in place are all started by my officers and commanders going out and speaking to the people. And one thing that we do when we go out there is to find out exactly what they need from us to help them improve their quality of life. And most of the people say they need opportunity, some hope. Some of the programs that were started as a result are turned into a new corner. That's where we come out to the corners in Southwest Division, and we bring employers and people who are ex-offenders, who have problems getting employment. We have employers right there on the spot. People have gotten jobs. We've been out there since September, and approximately 68 people have been hired. Another thing we have going on in Southwest also is Blaze, Phase, and Engage. The town hall, we have people come out in the community. They speak to us, they tell us their concerns, their problems, and we talk and have open dialogue, and that's been successful as well. Another thing we have out Southwest also is a program where we're giving people an opportunity who need to complete their GED or the high school diploma. It actually started today. I went out there and addressed the people, and they looked at the faces and told them, like, today is a fresh start for them. So they'll do a 7 to 9 week program, and at the completion of that program, they'll get their high school diploma, and also the opportunity to get employment or start a trade.
So let me ask you, Blades, Fades, and Engage. I've often had people say to me, I never talk to the police, or I wouldn't call police unless it was an emergency. How do you get the people to come out to you and speak to you, and what often do they talk about?
Often they talk about knowing their rights, contact with police. It's been some very tough conversations, but open, and I think it builds the trust because people see us in a different light. Sometimes some officers come in plain clothes and people don't even know they're officers until they tell them, identify themselves as police officers. So I think the open dialogue, them telling us how they really feel without fear any kind of reprisal, I think has helped build the relationships in Southwest between the police and the community.
Sounds good.
Yep. And I see we're joined also, of course, by Captain Driscoll, and we'll get to him in just a minute. But there are other captains that work under your command that, if you don't mind just saying who they are.
Captain Matt Gillespie, captain of the 18th, Captain Christine McShay in the 16th, and also Captain John Stanford in the 19th district.
All right, and Captain Driscoll from the 12th. Captain Driscoll, I want to get to you. I know you've been sitting there patiently, but I want to talk about something that you've implemented with great success. The police department, Commissioner Ross, the executive team, established Operation Pinpoint as the spearhead of our crime fighting strategy. It's been implemented in at least one district in every division. In Southwest, that district is yours. And I know you've implemented it with success. I've heard and seen other media that you've done about it. Can you just tell us a little bit about what Operation Pinpoint is and how you've been able to apply it with the degree of success that you've done?
Sure. It's Commissioner Ross's exciting new strategy. It's a multifaceted strategy on how to reduce crime in the city of Philadelphia. It involves community engagement, which Inspector Wood discussed and I can discuss further, deployment of officers into specific areas so that we are putting them in the areas where the most crime are happening. And intelligence. We're arming our officers with intelligence, another tool on their belt to go out there into the community and really go after the folks that are causing problems in the community. When you talk to anybody from the community, they know Johnny's bad. They know Johnny's causing problems. So let's not go after Joe. Let's look at what Johnny's doing in that community and make it better for that community.
Okay.
But you're recently assigned there.
Yes.
How long have you been in the 12th
I've been
district?
there 4.5 months.
So I've worked with you, and I think it's very impressive how engaged you've become very quickly with only being there for a few months. And looking at the community and trying to get them to provide support to us, it's very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. And I want to go back just real quick to Inspector Wood. You mentioned the Turning a New Corner in the GED program that's coming up. Last I checked for the job initiative, Turning a New Corner, we had about 40 or so people that were signed up?
No, it actually is almost 70 people now.
Up to 70, wow.
Yeah, so we have another one this week.
Okay.
Yes.
And for the most part, the retention rate has been spectacular as well, from what I understand.
Yes, everyone was hired is still employed.
Nice. And in fact, I had a conversation off the cuff with Commissioner Ross, and he mentioned he was doing one of his neighborhood walks, which I'll get back to you with that. And someone came up to him, and he thought he was going to report crime or say, you know, something about that. And he just said, "Thanks for getting me a job." So,
Yes.
there's definitely the reciprocity. We're here for the community's here for us. And speaking of which, you do in implementing Operation Pinpoint something called home visits. Can you tell us what that is?
Well, what we do is we identify who are causing the problems in the community. We talk to the community. We have what's called neighborhood resource officers. They go out into the community and they knock on doors to see what they need. We gather information from them, and we go out to the people we create, the list we created of the guys and girls that are causing problems, and we go to their house and we talk to them and their families, and we let them know we know who you are, and it's not a good thing that the captain of the district knows who you are, and that can be very powerful. We've had a lot of great responses from the family to the point where some of them were mad that we were there. Not at us, but at little Johnny, who's got the captain from the district there. So I think it's been effective. We're seeing declines in violent crime and property crime in those areas, so we're really happy about that, and we're looking for that to continue moving forward in 2019.
And
Add something about that. Home visits, that's where GED program originated.
Yeah.
Really?
We spoke to some of the residents who we were talking to in the homes, what issues they had, or they couldn't get a job, but they have a high school diploma or a GED. So that's where the program originated from.
So it created a bridge between you and them to get people to participate in the program.
Absolutely.
That's so important.
great stuff. Great engagement from Southwest. And many of these things, of course, are being emulated and replicated throughout the city. So, it's no secret that a lot of these things are being initiated in the Southwest. So we appreciate it. And thanks for joining us, Inspector and Captain. And in just a moment or two, we have another little treat for you. Either you're going to like it or you're going to turn your TV off. But we got a video. Well, and if you're asleep, you're definitely going to wake up. We got a nice video we want to show you. Stick around. Change it, yeah.
Captain Kennedy,
Yes, sir.
how's that community engagement video coming?
It's coming along quite famously, sir.
You doing fine with it?
Yes, I am, sir.
So I need a couple things, because
Yes, sir.
we've got our issues and things we're trying to work on.
Yes.
But I want to highlight the great work that the men and women in this department are doing. They're doing a lot of really good stuff, as you know. They're doing things that go above and beyond the call, and we need to let people know. But also, we need help. I mean, I think you know that as well as anybody else, so we need people to partner with us to help us to drive down crime and improve the quality of life in this city. You with me on that? Okay, and one favor, do me a favor. It was nice before, but none of that singing, okay? Let's leave that stuff out. You all right?
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war and poverty. Whoa, the world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We got to change it, yeah, just you and me. Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the one who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No singing. I'll get it done.
Oh, I know you'll get it done, but we're going to need a little help.
Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. I need a little help, y'all. I need a little help, y'all. Gotta change the world. Gotta change the world. And what it used to be can't be alone. I need some help, y'all. Need some help. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. Gotta change the world. Gotta change the world. Can't be alone.
Say, cool.
Yes.
Did you really sing in that video?
Yes, that was me.
Are you sure?
Well, if you liked it, it was me. If you didn't, it was Sherrod.
It actually sounded a lot like the original, but I think we have to check the authenticity of this video.
Yeah, well, maybe next time. But,
But you know what it is, though? It's a testament to how we collaborate in the department, inside and outside, and how everyone needs help.
yep, and we had a lot of help actually doing that. You saw the clergy, you saw the school board
Right.
in there, you saw obviously the members of the police department, executive staff, so it really came together really nice. And so, like I said, it's me if you like it.
I liked it.
All right. Anyway, welcome back to PPD-TV, and we are now joined by two other great friends of ours whom we work together in different capacities. In fact, I mentioned the chaplains, and we have two police officers. Our last guests, of course, were in uniform, and our current guests are not in uniform, but they are, in fact, Philadelphia police officers with whom I've worked in different capacities throughout my career, and so is Inspector Love Craighead. I'm joined by, of course, none other than Highway Patrol Officer Sherrod Davis.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm also joined by an officer assigned to the 15th District, Tracy Thomas. And interesting, not only are they accredited police officers, both of them are clergymen. Sherrod, Officer Davis, is a deacon at Enon Tabernacle Church, one of the largest, if not the largest, church in Philadelphia, certainly in North Division. It still is. And Reverend Thomas is a minister at Enon Church. So we're very privileged to have you, because one of the core things we wanted to discuss and promote here on the show is how important it is to maintain community engagement, how important it is to have the police community and faith-based communities operate in tandem to accomplish our mission. So I'm going to start with Sherrod. Sherrod and I worked together for some time. I've known you forever, but we worked together. He was my in-house, we worked together in the 14th District. He was the crime prevention officer, but he was like a one-man criminal investigations unit. I mean, he knew everything, he was on top of everything, but his heart's definitely always been in it. And so I definitely had the pleasure of working with him, and I found out very quickly of your attachment to Enon. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did in the 14th, and then we'll get to Highway, and how that connected you to Enon, or vice versa if you're already in Enon, and how important that is in promoting and sustaining our mission?
Well, thank you for having me. You was one of the best captains I ever worked for, so hopefully that
sound
gets
like
me
you're
something
sucking
one
up.
day. Well, I work for you, and I work for the inspector also, so and doing crime prevention, which is a part of community relations. And one of the things that I was tasked with is making sure that how we look at crime in the 14th District, whether it would be violent crime to property crime. So one of the things that I was able to do, being part of the clergy and being a deacon at Enon and being a police officer, I was able to go out there and talk to people, and I would, depending on the situation, I can have them meet me at the church, or I can have them meet me in the police department, and they were comfortable with talking with me and providing information to what was going on in the community. And because of that information was provided, as you know, we had a serious rash of shootings going back and forth between two different organizations, so two rival groups, and so we were able to get information based upon a connection with the church, which was able to be able to stop that violent crime in its tracks, basically, where we were able to go several months without any shootings between these two groups. And going back to what you said about Operation Pinpoint with the home visits, we were doing that, several years ago.
I learned it from you.
Several
Site
years
unit?
ago.
Yep.
Well, pre the site unit.
Pre-site unit?
In the district.
Yes, we would go to, and Captain Kennebrew and myself would go to young men that were creating problems in the district, and we would go talk to them and their parents and let them understand. And we offered them resources back then. It's just, I'm glad that it's been taken to another level. So it's, it's morphed into something more than what we thought about or dreamed of, but we really tried to make a difference.
Yep.
I remember, because I know you back from the 14th District.
Yes, ma'am.
When you were the crime prevention officer, and I think the unique thing about you was that you were able to include community relations with investigations.
Yes.
So explain how you did that. It was really out of the box thinking.
Well, what I would do is I would come to the captain, and I would come to Captain Fleming and then Captain Kennebrew and say, I have this problem. So therefore, we would go on our walks with the community. And in the course of going on a walk with the community, we would kind of stay behind, and then people would want to come up to us and tell us what's going on in the community while we were out on our prayer walks. Well, because they were able to come in and get into the crowd, and then they would slip you a note and say, I'm willing to talk to you about what's going on because we see you guys, we see the actual work you're doing. So a lot of times, we know, even in the church, there's two types of, you have to make sure people see certain things. People have to see you out there. They just can't hear that you do the work and know the police exist. But if we're out there and we're walking with them and we're in their community and we're telling them we're not going to leave you behind, people are willing to talk to you.
Yeah.
Good. I don't want to, I know we're running a little short on time. I got to bring the Reverend in. Tracy, we go way back too. You were a chaplain in the 14th District when I first met you. You had already moved on from community relations. You already would have been a captain.
Captain, right.
But I know you'd heard of his reputation from
Right.
being in the area, and
Right.
and Emir and the organization, very instrumental with that. And then you became a police officer
Yes, sir.
while not giving up your ministerial duties. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Well, again, thank you for having me on today. But yes, so it's been a lifelong dream to be a police officer. I think I had the conversation with you before
Yes.
about that. And so I kind of waited to get kind of, as the old people say, kind of long in the tooth before I became an officer. But again, it was doing my dream. And so, but part of who I am is community-based, and I wanted to make sure that young people in the community felt a part of the community. So I was at the church. I was called to the church, and I've been a part of that since 1999. And since I've been in there, I've been a part of community development. And at the church, I became the youth minister and engaging these youth. I started trying to put together some of the things that I was involved in. And one of those things happened to be the police. Another thing was in sports, and I felt that those things I could bring together and try to make some positive things happen in the community. So just to bring it all together, what I did was at the church at E9, we have a lot of members who own businesses. However, when I would go to them to talk to them about giving jobs to the young people, come to find out they were willing to teach them the skill, but they didn't have necessarily the resources to pay them. So because in my sports arena that I play a role in as a chaplain for the Philadelphia 76ers, I would go to my players and say, hey, listen, if you would donate some money to this cause, we can connect a person with a job, and you would be the person that would be paying that person. And so we would connect it that way. And then becoming a chaplain in the 14th, when we had these prayer walks, we do different things and engage the community. From that perspective, there were persons who would come up to a chaplain that may not come up to the police officer, as Sharad was just talking about, and you get to understand them as well, and then it can bridge the gap as well. So
Let me jump in here real
yes,
quick, because you spent time at the White House as an intern.
yes,
You started a nonprofit with your wife, and now you have a for-profit business.
yes.
And now you're with the Philadelphia Police Department. I just wanted to say we're lucky to have you.
Oh,
And we can talk for hours, but it looks like we're running a bit out of time. I would love in a future installment to have both of you back to get into a little bit more. I wanted to talk to you, we'll do that on the next one, about some of the give backs that Enon specifically does with the coats and the book bags and the suits for the men to get jobs, all that stuff. So we'll definitely bring you back on here, and it's just so good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And we will be back. Stay with us. Don't go away.
According to the Mayo Clinic, exercising has stress-busting benefits by bumping up your endorphins and improving your mood.
The soccer team likes your eyeliner like that too. Is that right?
Welcome back to PPD-TV. Wasn't that great with Sherrod and
great.
Tracy? I wish we had more time to talk to them.
I do too, and very impressive officers. Like I said, we're lucky to have them.
Yep, and we're constantly having both hats on is a great asset to us. It shows that we come from all walks.
All backgrounds.
All backgrounds,
yes.
yep. And how about Inspector Wood and Captain Drissel?
Absolutely good work they're doing out there. Goes to show you there's more behind the badge.
That's right, that's right. And speaking of which, behind the badge, behind much of our, if not all of our social media, the producer of the Wake Up video, the guy behind the camera running it, is joining us right now. It's my tag team partner, Sergeant Eric Grip, who is our digital manager. We also share office space all the time, so we get on each other's nerves probably half the time. So, well, he gets on mine. But anyway, Sergeant Grip, welcome aboard. You're in the hot seat. I know you have some things you want to talk to us about. I know you're well acquainted also with Inspector Love Craighead. She's right down the hall from us, and we've been really collaborating, and it's just going to get more between the public affairs, social media side of things and the community. So this is just one of several steps in that process. But there's some things specifically you want to talk about in terms of safety and how you promote safety using the social media platform.
But before you do that,
yes, ma'am.
Did he really sing on that Wake Up video?
He actually did. And
right.
Inspector, I'm glad you're here. First, thanks for having me. But Captain told me this was going to be called the Sergeant Grip Variety Hour. And,
so, what happened?
I don't know, but we're going to have to call the union and see if there's something at all. So I'm a little disappointed. But yeah, thank you for having me. Like the good captain said, I handle social media for the police department. And we are available on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And believe it or not, we are also on Snapchat. Many people don't come to.
I didn't know about the Snapchat.
I know, and I hope to keep it that way. So maybe we could edit that part out. But we are available on Snapchat. And what social media allows us to do, it's a great way to stay in constant contact with folks all throughout the community and quite frankly, all throughout the world. People that would never interact with a police officer otherwise, they can reach us on any of these channels. So if there's a way to get a hold of us, we want to make sure that we're there for the community.
What's our handle, if you don't mind?
Oh, sure. We're available on Twitter @PhillyPolice, Facebook.com/PhillyPolice. Our Instagram handle is @PhillyPolice, and with that, should give you enough hints to figure out what our Snapchat name is. But
so just really quick, safety tips on social media. You got something for us?
Yes. A few months ago, we were having a real problem with auto theft. So we put together a quick video, which hopefully gets the message across. And hold on to your seats, everyone. It's quite exciting. Yes.
And so what was the issue?
Well, what we found out that, was that 25% of vehicles that were stolen were because somebody left the car running. And oftentimes when it's cold outside, people just don't want to wait for the car to warm up. So they'll leave the car running, they'll run into the store, and when they come back, car is gone. All right, so
with the keys.
With the keys, they leave the car running. So it's actually a ticketable offense if you do that. Obviously, that's not what we're looking to do. We're just trying to get the message out there. You can either spend an extra 5 minutes waiting for your car to get warm or an extra couple weeks trying to get your car back.
All right. Well, we don't want anyone's cars to get stolen, so that was a good job on that video, real short but sweet. I wish we had a little more time with you, Sergeant Grip, but you're going to be have a recurring role here on PPD-TV. So
maybe we'll get your picture up there eventually.
Thank you.
Time. We'll see how how the ratings come in for this segment.
Sergeant Grip Comedy Hour.
So,
next one, yes.
Thanks. No, we appreciate you being here, Sarge, and I know I'll see you in the office tomorrow, so stay with us.